Let's talk about the 2014-2015 financial statement for the British Museum. Here are some numbers recording the amount of success the museum had throughout this fiscal year. 6.7 million visitors overall, 215,000 visitors to their one exhibit, Ancient Lives, New Discoveries, 140,000 visitors to Ming, 50 Years That Changed China, 114,000 to Germany, Memories of a Nation, with over 4 million downloads of their BBC Radio 4 series. Witches and Wicked Bodies attracted over 190,000 visitors, and 3 million people saw British Museum objects in the UK museums outside of London alone, compared to the 2 million UK visitors that traveled to the site. Their biggest success was the opening of the World Conservation and Exhibition Centre in 2014 after 4 years of construction and £135 million cost. So the statement of financial activities, a few things stand out. Donations and legacies totaling $27.6 million received during the year, with a further $22.8 million from commercial trading activities and $23.7 million from charitable activities. And the British Museum received £40.2 million revenue and £3 million capital grant and aid from the Department for Culture, Media and Sport. And for their spending, capital expenditure, mainly on plant, buildings, fabrics, galleries, refurbishments, amounted to £7.9 million compared to the £45.8 million of the previous year. A further $3 million was spent on acquiring heritage assets, with donated heritage assets during the year. This decrease is in part due to the completion of the World Conservation and Exhibition Centre. A large segment of their expenditures, about £38.9 million, goes towards paying their staff wages and benefits for 1,059 people overall. And another major point in the report is that the museum's revenue decreased by 18%, but they also curbed their expenses by 6%. Compared with the previous year's report, the museum was able to decrease almost all expenditures except for commercial trading activities. But the revenue shows that every category fell in funds, and this is probably due to how much development funds they needed to build the World Conservation Exhibition Centre. Donations and legacies have decreased from £44.3 million to £27.6 million, about a 38% loss. Incoming resources have fallen about £25.9 million from the previous year, a loss of about 18%. The bulk of the lost revenue comes from donations and legacies, which lost about £16.7 million in funds. However, they decreased the amount expended by 6%, saving £6.9 million. And in total, the net assets have grown from £679 million to £712 million, which is an increase of 4.8%. Creditors are owed £58.3 million, but the museum is owed £41 million from debtors. They have £12 million cash at bank and in hand after a cash flow of £9.6 million throughout the year. The value of capital commitments was $5.7 million, and their most significant commitment was to the World Conservation and Exhibition Centre. The majority of their fund balance is within restricted funds under Fixed Asset Reevaluation Fund, which is £369 million, and Fixed Asset Fund at £204 million. Fixed assets are valued at £575 million, which is £16 million more than the previous year. So finally, within the auditor's statement, there are no veiled references to any concerns. Everything seems to be in order, and it follows the procedure of an audit of a cultural institution properly. What I got out of this annual report was that although there were losses, the museum is still in good financial standing with a surplus and reserves that will help them in case of emergency. So although there were some negatives with the completion of the World Center, loss in donation funds being one, there were also positives in the amount of expenditure that they were able to decrease.